Hello everyone, welcome to what is hopefully the fourth and final installment of the Slazo situation, at least on my channel. In previous videos, I just briefly went over evidence and then gave my opinion and analysis on the whole situation. Similarly, this video is also going to go over new evidence, but I'm actually going to read it out and then also give my final opinion on the situation as a whole. That being said, I do encourage you guys to go watch other people's videos on this situation. Make sure you're informed as much as possible, and also it's completely possible that I missed something in this video, and if that does happen, please let me know in the comments below. I do read all of them and I will make sure to correct it to the best of my ability. Okay, so what's been happening is someone actually reached out to me on Instagram and let me know of some new information that I wasn't previously aware of, so thank you very much for making this video possible, and let's take a look at it. So first up, we have a tweet from Chey. It is an old one from 2018. It doesn't inherently really mean anything on its own, but I do notice some irony in it and it may shed some light onto what actually happened. Here is the tweet. Love it when people use years old screenshots with the intent to hurt/ruin careers, especially if out of context. Now once again, this doesn't imply anything weird on its own, but people did notice that she deleted this tweet right after the whole situation came to light. So right after she released her twit longer message about this whole thing, this ceased to exist. And what I think is this tweet actually can elicit some conflict with what she's saying, because she, once again, is basically messing up Slazo's career. So I just wanted to throw that in here, though I'm not 100% sure how to react to it. Let me know what you guys think about this and if it really provides anything to the story. I just noticed that it was a little bit weird that she would delete this tweet right after releasing the whole Slazo controversy into the internet. So moving on, we actually have a statement from Slazo himself. It looks like this was an Instagram DM conversation, and what it covers is Slazo's take on the movie theater and the park parts of this story, so I'm just going to read through the entire thing. The whole movie theater story was completely off. What really happened was it was our first time meeting and I had my arm around her in the movies, which took ages to happen because neither of us really knew what we were doing. We had our first awkward kiss and I was willing to call it quits there. She pulled my hand down and whispered, "Touch me." In hindsight, it was probably because she thought that's what I wanted, but it's a long shot from the version that's public now. In the park on the second date, I did cross a line, to be honest. I got touchy-feely in a public place, nothing below the belt, but it's still not entirely right. But she says she was crying and telling me not to at the time, which just isn't true. I don't know what to say, and it sucks because I can't prove what happened in a park or a movie theater, and that's the context of the entire story. Now, I do just want to say that it looks like he didn't answer the entire story, but instead just parts of it, and I'm not sure if I just didn't do enough research. I tried to find the rest of this conversation, but it doesn't look like it exists yet, I guess. That probably means I'm gonna have to make another video on this. Anyways, so let's just piece apart exactly what he said here. So for the first part where he talks to the movie theater, I think Slazo's telling the more complete truth here, and let me explain why. In Chey's original tweet, she claims that she thought relationships were, just this way. Boys are always kind of touchy, whatever. And this is supported by both stories, I guess. But what I think is a little bit wrong is she said she never kissed before the whole thing started. And also, Slazo was the one that initiated the actions. Here's where I would have to disagree with her story. From what Slazo has told us, he said they had their kiss first. And I'm just going to personally go and err on his side for this point, simply because any relationship would usually start with a kiss and then develop from there. Now, she did admit that she doesn't know much about relationships, but at the same time, I feel like that's what it would be. It seems a little bit off to me. And then on to the next point, Slazo claims that Chey actually wanted Slazo to touch her in the movie theater, and honestly, I don't know whether to believe this or not, and here's why. Chey claims that Slazo started it, and then Slazo claims that Chey started it. And there's evidence supporting both sides. So to begin, the Discord conversation supports Chey's side. Slazo does seem to be this, 16-year-old that really wants to do things. But at the same time, Chey also admits that she doesn't know how relationships works and she thought that's just normal. So then her initiating the action might actually be completely possible. Now this is where I have no opinion because I can't really form one. If it seems like they were both okay with the situation, but Chey was unknowingly okay with it, So who's at fault here? I don't know really. The best way I can give my opinion on this is to say that Slazo can't really be blamed for this, but Chey can't be blamed either. It was just unfortunate situational factors that allowed it to happen. Now, disclaimer, this doesn't mean that the rest of the story that Chey told is completely wrong. I just mean this particular scene, it's messy either way. Now on to Slazo's second point. He states that Chey was not crying in the park when he was being all feely with her. I'm gonna believe that. I'm gonna be honest with you. I think Slazo would have stopped at that point in fear of getting caught by other people in a public park. If some girl is crying and Slazo is doing that, I don't know if that would last very long, if you know what I mean. This is just speculation though. That's just how I see it. I do understand that the other side, Chey could be crying and it could look like Slazo is comforting her. But if Chey was actually crying, from what Slazo's actions have told me, he does become apologetic and apparently tries to, you know, fix it in between them two and becomes really apologetic and whatnot. And once again, this was a public setting, so I feel like someone would have noticed. So I'm gonna err on Slazo's side here and say she probably wasn't crying in the situation. Now, once again, Slazo touching her in a public park was probably not the most ethical thing to do, but I don't think Chey was really objecting to it. Now this next piece actually comes from another Twitter user named Melinda Layla. She, I was digging through the r/looks-like Slazo subreddit because that's really the only one available on him, and I noticed this post and then eventually got led to her account. It looks like Melinda got in touch with Slazo's older brother Chris, and then he released this statement to her. So thank you for releasing this. Now onto what Chris said. Literally, it is sickening to see him like this. She could have well ruined his life's work, the thing he's been working on for years and struggled with for so long, just so she can have false sympathy. It doesn't help that she was pushed to it either by her friend group and or current boyfriend. Just twisted the truth so much that it makes him look as bad as possible, and now she's getting called brave and a hero for complete and utter BS and lies. Literally, the entire extended family feels sick because they know the truth and are essentially powerless to stop it, because the victim always wins, of course, and everyone wants to support someone if it looks like they've been abused. It's just pathetic when it's founded on lies, jealousy, and resentment. Okay, so there's a lot to unpack here, but before I do that, I will address the fact that it may be faked. I asked for confirmation that this was in fact from Chris, and she did send me a screenshot, so there's that. And so I think it's pretty safe to say that this was an actual statement from Slazo's older brother. So I think the most important point on this entire statement is that he claims that Chey was pushed by her friend group and current boyfriend to do this, but to twist up the story before releasing it. I think this is a very believable point, simply because at this point, no authorities have been called and no other girls have come forward about this, and there's really no word from her current boyfriend either. So I think what happened was they slowly just got more mad and eventually decided to release it, but also twist up the story for maximum damage. Now, disclaimer, this is speculation, but based off of that point, I can see all this happening pretty easily, since I don't doubt that something happened in 2016 and 2017, but it looks like it might have been twisted out of context. And this hints back to the tweet. Why did she delete the tweet that says out of context? And also, why is everyone claiming it's out of context? I think there's something to say about it here. I think it's likely that it was taken out of context or just twisted to look worse. But this is, once again, speculation, and let me know if you guys believe this point down in the comments below. Does my analysis on it make sense? I do want to know. And I think that just about wraps it for all the new evidence, and now on to exactly what I think about the entire situation, I guess. So I'm just going to start from the very beginning. Back in 2016 and 2017, what do I think happened there? I think it was just a bad relationship, and I don't say this to undermine everything that has happened. I say this as in it was just very unfortunate as to how that happened. First off, it seems like Slazo was already just full of urges to do things, and then Chey didn't know any better to stop it, and so Slazo thought it was okay. And then his actions went out of control. Now, this doesn't mean what Slazo did is correct, but I think Chey had a part to play for his actions and eventual attitude as well. Now, that relationship lasts for about 2 years and is broken up, and it looks like they actually did have communication after this. for a little bit, including some friendly conversation, it looks like. And this is on the contrary to what Chey says. She said they were talking in a provocative way, but looking at the Instagram DMs, it doesn't really seem like they were doing that. As far as I can tell, she didn't release anything in between that, but it looks like from the messages available, they weren't really on bad terms. They were on speaking terms. Once again, to the point where she was asking how he and his dad were doing, and he was like, yeah, I'm doing fine. So the sudden change of heart does seem interesting. And this is where Chris's story comes into play. He claims that Chey was pushed by her friend and current boyfriend to do this, and it looks like they changed the story a bit and then released it to the internet. So now we have this story where Chey claims that Slazo needs to take responsibility and she wants to help others in her position, and that her friends were now feeling uncomfortable around Slazo. So this makes 3 claims. 1, Slazo hasn't taken responsibility. 2, she wants to help other people, kind of self-explanatory. And 3, Slazo's still being a predator. To begin, the definition of taking responsibility is to admit that you're wrong and then do your best to take care of it. So there's two problems when this is revealed. I think Slazo already did take responsibility. It looks like he knew he was wrong and he also did his best to fix it privately. And then on to the second thing, the way she released it, all it did was break Slazo's career in half. There's no way he, like, even if, whether or not he admits it, his career is just going to be hurt. And then he's already done everything he can to fix it. What is he going to do? Tell everyone he's sorry, even though they weren't involved in this situation? So those are the 2 things I have with her first claim. The second claim is kind of up in the air, and it really doesn't matter in the scope of the story, so I'll just leave that be. But the third claim is Slazo still being a predator. I think that answer is a hard and definite no at this point. There is no evidence that really supports it other than Chey's anecdotal evidence that other girls have come forward to say that she feels nervous. Now, there are a couple points refuting this. Number 1 is, why hasn't she contacted authorities? 2, where are those girls that she talks about? And 3, Slazo does seem genuinely, like, regretful of what he did. It's been 1.5 years, he's grown a bit, and as far as I can tell, his channel really reflects his personality. He seems very logical, he seems against being the person he was in 2016 and 2017. So, to summarize, do I think Chey or Slazo are completely right or wrong? No, everyone just messed up. So Slazo and Chey first kind of just fuel each other and let Slazo become this terrible person, and he regrets it a couple years later, and then Chey gets mad and then also releases this to the internet. I don't think Slazo is that person anymore, and this now begs the question, does he deserve a YouTube career? Knowing that his past did include this one scenario, does he still deserve a YouTube career, considering the fact that he has most likely become a better person, and also just doesn't condone his actions at all? He's tried to take responsibility, he's tried to correct himself, and he's tried to make it better for Chey and also apologize and resolve it privately. So, does he deserve it? Personally, I think yes, and this isn't exactly the most confident yes, but overall I think he was really genuine in his responses, and he really seemed sorry for what he did in 2016 and 2017, mentioning multiple times that he tried to resolve the situation in between the 2 privately already, knowing that what he did is wrong. But I'm gonna be honest with you guys, this is one of the first situations that I've really delved into really deeply. Instead of just listening to other people, I actually did my own research and also made my own conclusions from it. So I'm not 100% sure if what I said made any logical sense at all, and that's why I want you guys to comment down below and let me know exactly what you guys thought about this whole thing. So far, this whole entire situation, I've either been looking at other people's information and then looking at my own, but I also draw a lot of conclusions from your guys' comments. So what you guys say is important to help shaping what this channel thinks about Slazo and Chey respectively. And I think that just about wraps up the entire situation on this channel. If any new evidence does come out and it is highly important, I will cover it. But in terms of normal content, I will be returning to that right after I post this video. Look out for a r/woosh video coming out soon. I have been working on that for a while amongst this whole mess, and hopefully it does turn out well. It is a collab with a fellow Redditor, so stay tuned for that. Anyways, with all that aside, thank you guys so much for watching this video. I do appreciate you guys watching towards the end and making sure that you got the full story, at least from me, so you understand exactly what I'm saying. Let me know in the comments what you guys think about what I said and also about the situation as a whole. I do read every single one of them. Make sure to just look for the heart next to your comment. And yeah, hopefully the next video is Reddit. After four videos of the Slazo situation, I just want to return to my normal content, so there's that. So if you guys enjoyed this video, I don't know about subscribing as much because I will not be doing this commonly on my channel. Maybe I'll create another channel for doing this. I think the more I delved into the situation, the more I enjoyed looking at evidence and just taking a look at both sides. So maybe I will, I don't know. But in the meantime, look out for Reddit content, or if not, just unsubscribe. And thank you guys for sticking around while this situation lasted and listening to exactly what I said. And with that, I hope to see you guys sticking around for the next couple of videos. Thanks for watching.
Oh,